Hey guys, astrologer here, just making another video. So today I want to talk about how I keep my sword, basically, when I don't use it. So as you can see, I have some hand wraps and my sword. I have it in the cloth bag. And I place it with the blade facing skywards. Even when it's in the bag, I still place the blade facing skywards. When it's out of the bag, I face it. Either way, it's facing skywards because that's like how the back of the sword rests on your sheath, and then the sharp edge of the sword is just touching air. If you store it facing edge down, the edge is going to be against the sheath the entire time. So you want to face it with the spine of the blade inside on the wood of the sheath, leaving the heaven facing edge just touching air, touching nothing. It's not touching wood. That's why you want to store your sword facing upwards. So the reason why I have it in a bag when I don't use it is because if someone comes into my room and they see a sword out, they might want to, grab it and pull it out and like have a look at it and stuff, right? So the bag will deter people from just grabbing it out and having a quick casual look. Because if someone wants to look at the sword now, they're going to have to untie it, get it out of the bag, and then they can see it. And then when they put the sword back and I come back to my room, I'm going to see, hey, someone's touched my sword, because it's not going to be, I don't know, it's just not going to be the same. But let's say someone does come into my room, they play with my sword, and they're like, oh, I'm going to use my phone and take a picture of it before I touched it. So when I put it back, I can make it like as identical as possible. Well, at least to the point that they hope that the owner of the sword is not going to notice that it's touched. Now, if someone goes to that kind of effort to try and make it look like they didn't touch your sword, well, they've packed up your sword for you anyway. So the kind of people who would do that, I think I would be okay with them touching my sword anyway. It's really for the people that just see a sword out and they're like, oh, let's just have a play. Let's check it out. Let's swing it around. If they want to do that, they have to physically take it out of the bag. And then, yeah, like it helps deter them. Yeah. So yeah, it stops people from just grabbing your sword and taking it out. And then if someone does touch your sword, when they put it back, like, yeah, I'll be able to tell that someone's moved it, unless they do it so well that I'm like, oh, okay, like it's as I left it. Yeah. So yeah, let's do a draw. So the way I like to put my sword in my bag is the sharp edge, goes to the back. So see how it's opened here? So I'm going to slide the sharp edge So now my edge is facing this way, and then you can see the seam. This is the back of the sword, and then the front of the sword, there's no seam. So this bag only has one seam here, and then it's squared off at the bottom. So yeah, this seam, this is the back of the blade, and the sharp edge of the blade, there's no seam here. And this is how I like to bag my katana. But yeah, oh, my wrist still hurts from the pillow before, because I tried to get it in the pillow and it wouldn't. So the pillow has like the pillowcase, then there's this this like cloth that's kind of thick, and then there's a second thinner layer of cloth underneath that, and then there's this foam. So this foam is like it's very sticky. Not sticky, like it's very squidgy. Like it's like a eraser. You know, an eraser is rubbery, it's grippy. This is extremely grippy. So when I'm putting my sword through it, it goes through the pillowcase very easily. This cloth, this double layer, this thick cloth and this thin cloth make it quite hard, because the tip of your sword can get caught on this quite easily. And because katana is single edge, the back edge doesn't cut, so it's easy to get tangled. And then when it gets tangled, what I'm doing is like I'm twisting and trying to shove it in, and then I sprained my wrist trying to get it through there. And what I did was, because I couldn't do it, I ended up putting my palm to the base of the sword and pushing it through that way, because my wrist had, lost function at that point. So I'm pushing through and went through with the base. And then when I pulled the sword out, I had to be a bit more careful. I couldn't just pull it out, because this foam is really grippy. So it makes it really hard to pull your sword out. So yeah, that's why I sprained my wrist. So let me just tie this baby up. Yeah. All right, there we go. And then, yeah, so I'm gonna place it. So yeah, what these are basically cloth wrap handguards, and they're used for like martial arts, basically. And then, so, the main reason to wrap your hands is to give your wrist more support, because it's very easy to twist your wrists in combat. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're doing like a sport where you're like boxing or Muay Thai, where you're punching with your fists, versus versus having a sword. When you have a sword, you still have to use your wrist as well, and having some wrist support for using a sword is quite nice as well. Yeah, it also helps prevent injury a little bit if you wrap your wrists. So yeah, I don't really care that much about the knuckles because I'm using a sword. I'm not punching anything. So the knuckles here is not so important. Usually boxers would pad a little bit more. Maybe they'll put a bit more padding on the knuckles. But I'm wrapping this mainly for the wrist. So yeah, it's good to move your hand around a bit whilst you're wrapping, because you can do this too tightly. That is a thing, and I've done it a little bit tight. So I'm just going to, there we go. Just, sometimes you don't want it too tight because it starts to cut off your circulation as well. So yeah. See if I can do a nice one. Hey, yeah. Oh, so yeah. So my wrist is still hurting a bit from the pillow stabbing. Oh, yeah, it's in another video. I stabbed the pillow, and yeah, kind of hurt my wrist doing it. So, oh, this feels so good. Oh, this feels so good. It like gives it stability. I don't know if you've ever worn like a knee brace or some kind of brace for some part of your body. But yeah, it feels really good. So you can see I'm doing the fingers on this one differently. Like there are so many ways to wrap your hands. Like it really, every time I do it, it might be a little bit different. Like it really, it's about how it feels. Yeah? And then if you do this on the fingers, it looks really nice at the end as well. I'll show you. Yeah, you'll see at the end it looks good. So I'm gonna do another one here. I'm gonna do one more, and then around the thumb as well. So the inside looks quite nice as well. But yeah, I did boxing for about 3 or 4 years. I wasn't very good at it, but I really, really enjoyed it. Honestly, like martial arts, like MMA, doing MMA, like saved my life. So I have bipolar manic depression, bipolar disorder. And then if it wasn't for like martial arts and obviously my psychiatrists and stuff, but training is such a physical health is such a big part of mental health, you know? Oh, All right, so now we have some wrist support. When I bend my wrists, it feels firm and it feels really nice, especially on my right hand. Like that added support, just, it feels really comfortable now. Yeah. So I'm just curious how it's going to feel with the hand wraps. No, that feels really good. Like it gives you, it gives you, it like makes your wrist a bit firmer. So yeah. Now I wouldn't advocate for always training with hand wraps, but if you if you sprained your wrists or some shit, um, train with hand wraps sometimes. That way, it helps you maintain, it helps support your wrist, right? So you can go a bit harder, go a bit longer, but also train without it, because training without hand wraps strengthens the natural wrist muscles, right? It strengthens them. It makes them stronger. It conditions them. So you want to have the conditioning of the wrist without wraps, but you also want to train with wraps sometimes, maybe because you're injured, or maybe because you want to go a bit harder, a bit longer. All right, so put it back in the bag. Because if you think about it, your sword needs to rest as well, you know? Like, you need to rest. You need to go to sleep. Well, maybe your sword likes to rest as well. So yeah. Oh, I always feel really tired and really peaceful after drills. Like, I don't know, I'm out of breath, I'm really tired, I'm gonna have a shower, but I feel really, invigorated, uh, like it was a good training session, you know? It's nice. So last thing, we have our sword packed up. Now we just do our hand wraps. Now there are different uh, different materials for hand wraps. This one is thin and stretchy. Other ones, like the red one you see under the katana, those ones, the fabric is thicker and it doesn't stretch as much. It's tighter. Whereas this one, if you pull it, there's quite a lot of give. Now, I bought a bunch of wraps, and personally, I like the ones that are thicker and don't stretch. These thin, stretchy ones, I don't know. They shift around, they move, they stretch. I prefer the stiffer fabric, yeah. So yeah, this just takes a while. This takes a while. There's not much you can do about it. There's not much you can do about it. There is a machine that you can put it in and you can wind it. They had one of those at our gym. So yeah, the gym I used to go to is called the Fight Center. That's where these yellow wraps came from. TFC, the Fight Center. It's owned by two guys, Ben Johnston, who was a fighter, and this guy called James Jarvis. We call him Jarvie. Either way, those two guys are such absolute legends. I cannot compliment them enough. When I was struggling with like mental health and suicide and that kind of stuff, like I had passed the suicide phase. So I was out of the worst of it. That was in 2016. I started boxing at TFC in 2019. And yeah, I was still in a pretty bad place. And fighting, training, just because you're training with other people, there's a social aspect. And because you're training boxing and jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, you're doing high intensity stuff that makes you sweat a lot and that puts you in the moment. Like when you spar with people, you are not thinking about anything else. There is you can't even, your brain cannot even be distracted when you are getting punched in the face. So doing combat sports, really helped me. And I'm from a Taiwanese background, so essentially Chinese heritage, right? So when I was growing up, martial arts consisted of kung fu, and kung fu consists of solo forms and solo routines and performances and practices, right? So you have all your uh, forms, and then the all of your forms and stuff, and then you have weapons and stuff, and then they have some, like they also have like mimic sort of performance battles that they're mimicking fighting. So a lot of it is just very much about honing the self. Yeah, and I like, because I grew up in Australia, I have this white kid mindset, and I want to play, I want to have fun with people. I find it really boring to like, oh, imagine he attacks and you block, and then you hit him in the leg, and he uh, kneels down, and then you backhand him in the face, and then he goes down, or like, oh, when he punches, you catch the punch, pull him and punch him yourself. Like, they're just telling you to imagine these things, right? And to me, it doesn't make sense. So I thought that was what martial arts was, because I didn't know. And then when I did boxing, like when I started looking for cures for anxiety, depression, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. So I started smoking cannabis. I started, doing MMA. And these things, along with psychiatric care and medication, just pushed me forwards towards being a happier self. Now I'm in a better place. I have a better job. I'm trying out learning how to sword fight and dancing, yoga, meditation. Like, I am so much more focused on relaxing and having fun now, rather than like trying to be the ideal human being with humility, discipline, and honor. And I work really hard, and I'm very good to my family, and honor, and discipline, and submissiveness, and obedience. Like, after a lifetime of that, just kicking back, having a few beers, relaxing, go gym, go spar with old matey, go spar with Leon, go spar with Benny, like go to the beach, go surfing, just interact with people, have fun, talk to girls, go dancing. Like, I'm just in such a better place now. And a lot of that has to do with martial arts. So yeah. That's why I keep my sword in a bag.